So I was born in Paterson, New Jersey. My mom came to America to give birth to me because she really wanted me to be born American for me to be able to travel in the future. So after a month of me being born, she took me back to Dominican Republic, which is where she was born and my dad was born, and that's where I was raised. And growing up on an island made me feel so lucky. I love the weather and the culture, the food, the music. It made me feel so proud to be from that country. Growing up, I lived right across from my grandma. We had just had a strip of street that separated us. So I would visit her every single day. I also went to church every day of my life, so religion was also very important to me growing up. I remember my mom telling me there was a chance we might move to the United States. My dad was already in the United States working for a year before we moved there. So one day he sent me and my brother brand new suitcases out of nowhere. And I was like, and I remember I had like a tiny pink suitcase. And I was like, what is this suitcase for? And my mom was like, we're moving to America. The only place I knew in America was like New York or like Washington. So I was like, I'm moving to Washington. So we ended up moving on Christmas Day. So before we left, I remember we got my grandma a Christmas tree, and my grandma gave me a pink watch before we left. She told me to be careful, and we went to the airport. And there, I fell asleep the entire plane ride, but I remember when I got off the plane, I saw snow for the first time. And I remember always seeing snow on like the TV and everything, and it doesn't snow there, so I was like, what is this? So when I touched it, I saw it like dissolve in my hands, and that it was cold, and I thought it was just a weird like feeling. After settling in, it took like 2 months. I started school late, and my class already knew that they were gonna get a foreign student. And before that, my teacher had asked my parents things that I like. So they said sunflowers, because my grandma always had sunflowers and I love them. And they mentioned like my favorite foods and everything. So when I got to school, I remember the kids like drew sunflowers for me, which was so nice. After that, my mom had a friend in Delaware, so we were like, let's just move there because we have a connection there. After that, after living there for 1 year, we decided no, we would feel more comfortable in Pennsylvania. We moved back. We lived there for about 5 or 6 years. I did my entire middle school there. And after that, my dad's company decided that they needed someone to work in Mexico. So we honestly had no other option. So we just all went to Mexico, which was so different. It was like the same experience all over again. After a year of living in Mexico, we were like, no, we want to go back to America. So then that's when we decided to move to Madison a year ago. After school, I take part in a lot of activities. I am part of my robotics team. I'm part of my Cyber Patriots, improv club, Scholars of Color, engineering club, and construction. One of the things that I took part of when my freshman year of high school, I decided to join rugby because all my friends were like pressuring me. They said, oh, you should join rugby. So after I joined, that was also very different. It was like stepping out of my comfort zone, which people should definitely do. After that, I was so scared, but I ended up loving it, and I definitely want to continue playing rugby in college. I was always so intimidated by math and science and subjects that are just STEM related. But then after I joined my robotics team, I was like, I need to go into engineering. I loved creating things. I loved the idea that I can keep learning, and I will always have questions for the rest of my life that will always be unanswered. So I can always come up with new things. In the future, I am planning to major in electrical engineering and minor in computer science here in Madison. I still don't know what school I want to go to. With what I plan to go into when I go to college, I really want to help inspire other minorities to go into STEM, especially females, since it's so intimidating based on gender or ethnicity, race, whatever. Like, people shouldn't limit themselves based on stereotypes or just because they think they're not socially acceptable. But that's what I really want to help inspire women to go into STEM.